about this question, I'm like, how have my ancestors not shown up for me? Actually, um, yeah, kind of like what you said, Jojo. I think I thought a lot about them being present in my carving, in the doing of the prints and the making of the prints. But I think a lot of I gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of representation. Because when I was doing my research for some of my prints, especially for my print over there, Women Talking, um, I got to see just beautiful trans and queer people from my history, specifically in Mexico City, and I made me think about how we have been just present for a very, very long time, and it made me feel a lot less lonely and very seen. Um, and I also think that, especially for some of my ancestors, some which I gained during this these 5 months, um, I honed in a lot of the people that have become my ancestors during this time, and I made them like be represented in the prints. I think for me, especially my my print in the middle over there, "My Life is a Prayer." That one, I think, really encapsulates the feeling that I have while calling to my ancestors, and how that is a ritual, and which is what I did while also making the prints. So my ancestors have been around the whole time, and I was able to physically honor them thanks to this project. So um, yeah, I want to thank Katie and everyone in this cohort for just making it something that was possible for me to do. Women Talking, or the alternative title is Women Chismeando. And yes, it's the one that I pointed to over there. My very first print that I did, and it all came from a question that I was curious about, which was, where did the term Joto come from? So Joto is what would be considered the F slur in Spanish. I think specifically, I know it's in Mexican Spanish. I know there's different types of Spanish. But yeah, so I wanted to know where it came from. And as I was doing research, I came upon this wonderful, beautiful collection of photographs by the photographer known as Casasola, who is very notorious for specifically one of his pictures, which was he took a picture of Zapata right after he passed, right after he was shot. So he was known for that picture, but he did a lot of other pictures as well. And this particular collection was for people who were incarcerated, but specifically queer incarcerated folks. So one of the theories of why we call F slurs in Spanish jotos is because there is a huge jail in Mexico in Mexico City, or there was a huge jail, the Cumberry. Um, and apparently they had alphabetized like groups, and the letter J in Spanish is Jota. So the legend goes that they put the queer incarcerated folks in the J cells, and so they gendered them Jotos. Oh. And that is the beginning of my search. But as I was looking at these pictures, I came across the one that I ended up carving, and it was just these, what was obviously to me women. They were very beautiful women. Like the femininity was just like oozing out the picture. But the way that they were categorized were as jotos. And so I was quite confused because it was to me, it was women talking. And um yeah, they were just something that I think also brought that to my attention was the cutouts of women and beautiful feminine objects that they had on their wall, which I know is something that dolls be doing. Yeah, I worked at a transgender navigation center or a shelter, and that is something that the dolls would do at the shelter. They would put it, and it was not as something that was to be sexualized. It was something like, it was femininity that they were looking up to, that they were aspiring to, or that they felt, close to. And so it was wonderful to see that dolls have been doing that for a very, very long time, and something that apparently they do internationally. And so I think in terms of the process, it was also the print that took me the longest, because it has 4 people in it. And that, it takes a lot of effort and detail, I would say. But yeah, I chose that print to carve as my first print because I wanted to be able to rename and really honor their transness and their femininity and their womanhood. And I think one of the things that we did that day for printing was a rainbow roll, which is when you take 2 colors and with the roller, you roll and it creates a sort of spectrum of colors. And that was, it was the red and the yellow, which kind of has like an orange hue in the middle. And I really enjoyed it because I felt, gave warmth to the print. And yeah, that's what I feel when I saw these transgender incarcerated women talking and coming together in, what is obviously to me a girl's room. And I thought, just because there's one of them, she's like looking at a picture And that's why the alternative title is chismeando, because I'm imagining that they're like talking about someone that they have in the room. And they're like, yeah, that's him, you know. He used to be my boo, but now he's not, but I still love him, so I took this picture, you know. And yeah, it was that collection of pictures is available online through Mexico's archival website called INAH, INAH. So if you ever look up the origin of the word Joto, that picture will most likely come up. So I encourage you all to do a little bit of research yourself if you want to. Yeah.